Karen burst into laughter in the middle of the courtroom, actual laughter, the kind that made the stenographer glance up. With a pen in one hand and the divorce papers in the other, she scoffed and muttered under her breath, "Finally, I can be with someone who has something going for himself." Her husband, David, sat quietly beside her, his fingers interlocked, his face unreadable. He didn't look up. He didn't flinch. He simply stared at the table like it held more truth than the woman beside him ever did. Before we go further, if you're watching our video for the first time, you're highly welcome to Elliot Stories. Please comment which part of the world you're watching us from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is a banger you'll never want to miss. Now, back to Karen, known by her friends as that bold chick who speaks her mind and to her neighbors as that woman who's always fighting her husband on the phone. At 31, she was tired of playing house with a man she believed had no drive, no ambition, and no clue how to make her life luxurious. To Karen, David was just another man in a long line of disappointments. She didn't know he drove an old car by choice. She didn't realize the simple house they lived in was fully paid for, in cash. She never once asked how the bills were always paid on time. Instead, Karen flirted loudly at bars, left her phone unlocked on purpose, and once told David to his face, "If you were half the man Mark is, I'd treat you with more respect." Mark, of course, was her gym trainer, a man with perfect abs and zero intentions. David never retaliated. He never raised his voice. Even on nights she returned home at 1 a.m. smelling like expensive cologne, he only said, "Hope you're safe." That calmness enraged Karen more than anything else. She wanted fireworks, fights, and drama, anything but David's stone-cold peace. Behind the calm, though, was a storm David never invited her to. He was an architect-turned-investor, a behind-the-scenes developer who had partnered in 17 high-rise buildings across Dubai, Tokyo, and Miami. He had founded a private equity firm at 29, one that never bore his name. Instead, it bore numbers, DK47 Holdings. It sounded like a code. That's how he wanted it. Quiet. Invisible. Unstoppable. When Karen met him at 33, he had already been on Forbes' anonymous board of under-the-radar billionaires. But he lived like a man with $70,000, not $70 billion. Karen missed all the signs. She saw a regular man because that's all she wanted to see. The courtroom was silent now. The judge, a stern woman in her late 60s, cleared her throat. "Mrs. Walker, are you certain about your request for full separation with no spousal support?" Karen smirked. "I'm not taking a dime from him. I can do better." The judge raised an eyebrow but said nothing. David signed his half of the papers in silence. Then the judge flipped a page and paused. Her eyes darted across the paper once. Then again. Then slowly, very slowly, she looked up at David and blinked. "Mr. Walker, is this figure correct?" David simply nodded. Karen rolled her eyes. "What?" "His debt," she chuckled. "He probably owes the government his whole life." The judge sighed. "No, Mrs. Walker. According to this financial declaration, your husband's net worth is estimated at $70 billion. Karen choked on her laughter. The courtroom froze. You could hear the AC humming. Even the bailiff turned his head. "No, that has to be a typo," Karen stammered. 70 million. 70,000. 70 billion, with a B, the judge repeated. Verified across multiple portfolios, holdings, and trust accounts. Karen's pen dropped. Her jaw followed. David finally looked up. His eyes met hers, calm, tired, distant. That was when she realized he had let her go. Karen couldn't speak. Not at first. Her lips moved, but no words followed. The judge continued reviewing the documents, now with a faint hint of awe in her voice. "Mr. Walker has waived all claims to joint assets and is not seeking damages despite extensive personal misconduct outlined in the private addendum." Karen's head snapped toward him. "You told her about Mark." David gave her a half-smile, more sad than smug. "No need. My legal team found everything." The word team alone shook Karen. David had never even mentioned having an assistant, let alone a legal team. She remembered mocking him for using a flip phone, one of those outdated models. She once said, "Even your tech matches your broke vibes." Now she wondered if the phone was just another layer of disguise. As the judge finalized the filing, she asked the couple to wait briefly while the clerk prepared official duplicates. Karen took the moment to whisper across the table. "David, why didn't you ever tell me who you really were?" He didn't answer right away. He looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in years. Because who I really am is the man you never wanted. You loved noise. I build in silence. Karen blinked back tears, but they weren't from remorse. They were from regret. Wait, she leaned in again, her voice a little higher now. This doesn't have to end like this. We've been through a lot. David chuckled. You've been with a lot. I've been through it. David, please. I was stupid. I didn't know. He nodded slowly. You didn't ask. When the clerk returned with the stamped copies, David stood. Karen grabbed his hand. Don't go. He pulled away gently. I'm not the woman I was, she said. I can change. I will change. I know, David replied. But I'm not the man you deserve anymore. I'm the one you already threw away. With that, he walked out of the courtroom, past the reporters, past the whispers, and into a waiting black SUV where his chief legal advisor greeted him with a respectful nod. Karen was still inside. Still gripping a manila envelope that could have been her ticket to an empire. Still staring at a door that no longer led to a future. Weeks passed. She tried to reach out. Texts. Emails. Messages through mutual friends. Nothing. One day, she received a parcel, no sender name. Inside was a flash drive and a note that simply read, I loved you even when you didn't love yourself. But now I love me enough to walk away. She plugged in the flash drive. It contained hundreds of photos. Moments she'd never noticed. David at construction sites. David in meetings. David handing out scholarships to kids from his old neighborhood. Quiet heroism. Silent power. A man whose worth went far beyond the number in his bank account. And she'd laughed at him. All for someone who couldn't even pay for Uber without a promo code. That night, Karen cried. Not for David. But for herself. For all the years she spent chasing glitter when gold was already sitting quietly beside her. Moral lesson. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Their silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. In a world obsessed with loud success, sometimes the richest hearts and minds wear the plainest clothes. A word from Elliot Stories. Don't chase wealth, build worth. Don't wait to value someone when they've already walked away. Be kind. Be curious. And above all, treat everyone like they might just be the miracle in disguise. If today's story hit home, leave a comment below and tell us what you learned. And don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow's story, it's going to shake your soul.